Hi guys, welcome back.
Hello.
So, yeah, I'm O and it's Kido.
Yeah, this is part 2 of our Gambia Senegal trip.
Adventure.
Sit down.
First, we want to show you what we bought, all the souvenirs we got. So we saw this in one of the crafts store, and it just tells our story: a white man with a black lady in love. So immediately we got it. We paid too much for it, but
of course we paid too much for it.
Before we discovered it was actually cheaper. We paid 800 dollars. It should be like 500, but we're just excited to find it.
Yeah.
Later we found this and we loved it. A woman, an old woman, a black woman carrying a baby behind her back,
yeah,
and carrying a bucket of water. It's just nice and beautiful with the wrapper and
yeah,
everything.
it's going to get some
We
special.
might probably give it to Ido's mom. She likes things like this. And another thing we got from our lion.
So
walk.
you never know. Well, this is we went to Senegal 2 times because the Gambia is around the river the Gambia, and to the north of the Gambia is Senegal, and to the south is also Senegal, and to the east is also Senegal. So it's like an enclave within.
So the first one we went
Senegal.
was on the other side of the Atlantic. That's the south.
That's the north.
That's the north. So that was where the safari thing is, the Fatala Nature Reserve. So we walked with the lion. This was the day we ate one of the best meals of our lives. So we bought this to commemorate the day we survived the lion and the day we survived another major thing in our lives. So we just got this as like to keep as a souvenir to remember that particular day. It's Fatala 2024. Chris and Lisa.
So Chris was the male lion, and Lisa was his woman.
Was the female. So we also got that. And I also got this. Obi bought me this nice African attire. Just the normal traditional African attire. Very nice. I wore it a couple of times. It's free.
So the first trip we did. What was a little bit special is that to get to Senegal in a normal way you can drive all around the Gambia River, but to do it a little bit short, you have to cross the Gambia River where it goes into the Atlantic Ocean. And that was a tiny boat that they had to carry me
they had to lift him up. You see
because
the video,
because they have what's it called, a veerboot?
The ferry,
but it's broken down for very long
now.
already.
So what they do is they get this small canoe that takes like 15-20 people, but to even get to the boat they have to lift people. I did a short video. I'm going to be
it will be on
the vlogs. It was really an experience, and climbing going on the Atlantic Ocean. Of course everybody had the life jacket, but it was like 30 minutes trip to the other side. It was really scary. It was another scary part of the trip, but it was also exciting. Then now going to the other side, we did the safari first, then we now did the walk with the lion. It was the most dreadful feeling ever, but we survived. It was amazing how they could tame and control the lions, because they can
the lions
be
are scared
erratic
for the stick.
So they said this was like the African magic thing they use, but we think maybe they tamed them because they are young lions. They tamed them from cubs with this by eating them, I think. So the lions are like trained, because they said once we hold this in front of the lions, the lions will not come close to us. So this was like our protection. So I think they've tamed and really trained them to obey. One of the lions stood up and ran, and the guy said, "Stop, Chris!" And he halted, like like a soldier halting. He halted immediately at the spot. So they are really trained. So we know it was a risky adventure, but of course,
luckily Chris did not stand up and
when we were in front of him, and they ate. So out of the, like we were told, out of the animals in the reserve, the lions are the only animals they feed. So they feed them with donkeys every 4 days. So they were well fed. They were looking okay, and our trip was really nice because we were the only one on that tour. So it was not like an exclusive.
But also that made it maybe maybe a little bit more dangerous.
More dangerous because we're not in a pack of people.
If you're in a group, the lions will not even think of hurting you.
Of hurting, but we were safe. We had three lifeguards around
and
controlling the lion.
5 people in total.
It was 5 people, and they were very obedient, and they did what they needed to do, and we didn't fit
lions that can just rip you apart in 5 seconds.
It was scary, guys, but we survived that. Survived the Atlantic Ocean. I learned how to swim, so I survived my fear of water. And I also made friends with the cats, so I also survived my fear for cats.
Yeah, we achieved a lot of
and
stuff.
We achieved a lot. So back to the story of how we sorted with the police people. So we went to Senegal, which is another story for another. That was our second Senegal trip.
Very, very, very good, guys. One thing: read up about other countries before you go anywhere,
and requirements for
make sure that you bring along experienced people, because
like natives.
We already said that it was the most expensive
of
trip
all
ever.
the trips. We had different trips, so we had 3 different trips. The first week we went on the Gambian trip. We had a local tour guide with his car. He took us all around the Gambian tour, which is the reptile farm, the crocodile pond, and all these, the fishing pond, all this adventure we did. The first set of our adventure was the Gambia. So the second one was the Fatala in the north of Senegal. So this guy took us on those 2 trips. We even went to Kunta Kinte Island. So that was all the 2 guards. So the 3rd guard, he charged us for the first tour of Gambia. He charged us $150, 150 euros. So then the second trip to Fatala, he charged us 220 euros. $220. So when we got there, we decided we wanted to do that just for a safari. So we now decided we wanted to go for the lion, to walk with the lions. It was a separate, so we paid $2,005 each. That's $5,000. $5,000 is like how much in dollars?
$5,000 is $90.
Like $90 to $100 for that separate. We already paid $80 for the safari. Now we are paying another $90. So we did that extra. So the guy, I felt he wasn't so involved with showing us around. He just sits after he drops us. So we decided what we learned again is maybe you should just get a driver that just takes you there, because at the end of the day, he claimed there's entry fees for all these places, but they are just tips. You just give them $100, $200. So what he did, he took money for showing us around, but when we got there, he handed us over to the tour guide of the particular place we went to. So he didn't do anything, he just sat there. So I said I wasn't going to use him for our 3rd trip, which is to the south of Senegal. So when we eat in the evenings at the restaurant, I met up with a Nigerian guy that introduced us to a Nigerian restaurant. So we became friends. He's a Yibo Nigerian guy. So we told him about the trip. He said, the guy is too expensive. How can he be charging you $220 for that trip? He can do it for $150. So it wasn't even the money, because when we calculated it, his is going to be exactly the same. But I told Obi, he's my brother, let's consider him. I said, does he speak the language? He said yes. I said, do you understand? He said, he does it. He showed us his tourist guard ID card. He said he has been in Gambia for over 20-something years. He made a lot of money. So I said, let me give it to him as my brother and give him the job so he earns money, because the average income there is like $4,000 per month. So he's going to get like $4,000 to $5,000 from the trip. So I'm like, let's give him, and he will get some money from it.
Well, he is a nice guy.
And support him. So only for, his name is Paul, only for wonderful Paul, on the day I was assaulted by police, which is Sunday, that evening after I got assaulted and we got off the police, we went to eat and we paid him for the car, to rent the car. was $3,005 per day. That's 7,000. We're going to go one day and return the next day. So we paid him 7,000 already for that. So the next day after the incident with the police, Obi said, do I still want to go? I said no, that we should call him. But later I said no, we already paid him, let's just go. Maybe to keep my mind away from the bad incident I had the previous day. So the guy came with this Lexus Jeep, and we were happy. The car was clean,
4x4 with decently working
so
brakes.
we checked out of our hotel because we didn't want to pay for that overnight or 2 nights we're going to stay. We didn't want to be paying for an hotel when we are already going to pay for another hotel in Senegal. So we took all our luggage in the trunk of the car and we got moving. So we started. For the first 30 minutes, Obi even drove. So I told him, I'm not comfortable. We cannot pay for someone to drive us and we are driving again. So God so good, he thought, oh, maybe his license cannot even, maybe he will be stopped and they will not allow him because he doesn't have the international license. I said there won't be any problem. But thank God he listened to me and he handed the car over when we got to the border and the guy started driving. So when we got to the border, the first thing that got me upset was they stamped his passport for free. I, as an ECOWAS citizen, I need to stamp my passport. I needed to pay $200. So we have the Gambian border. Then you are departing the Gambian border. You now cross to the Senegal border. So at the Gambian border we paid. At the Senegal border I paid again. So I'm like, why? They're like, go and ask the government. So I'm like, it's not fair. The foreigners are meant to be paying. What's the privilege I have as an ECOWAS? You people do not even give me any privilege. Nothing. I have to be paying. So that really got me upset. So while we were discussing on our way going, we now missed this particular thing. The driver, because I was discussing with him, he, as the acclaimed for expert, he's supposed to know that you're supposed to get a particular document at the border, the Senegal border, on the Gambian side.
Passavant.
It's called a passavant.
I will never ever forget that. Okay, the passavant.
Yeah, guys, we learned a huge lesson.
Yeah,
the passavant.
Yeah.
So I have no. This is the fine we paid. The passavant was taken after everything was taken, but this is like, and this is like.
Don't say the amount. Let's first finish the story. What happened is that we first of all at the border they checked all our luggage. Then
they will strip you naked.
Then the next thing. Then the border is divided into 2 places where, even in Senegal, where one place the police stamps your passport, and there is then the douane, like in Holland.
So we were wondering why police be stamping immigration. Then why are they not telling us in front you need to collect a particular document from the douane? So that's how we were like.
It's possible. It's like road tax or a permit, so you are allowed to enter into the country with that car. And our experienced driver was not aware.
Didn't know that. We were not also aware, and he drove past the douane. There was no stop sign at the douane. There was no stop sign. There was nothing indicating, oh, you have to collect pass. So if you don't know, you will just drive through, which was what we did. We just drive through and nobody stopped us.
Yeah.
We got into Senegal. We had a check with the police.
Yeah, we had a military guy check and another check, and then
we had like three checks.
Was when we entered. What was
Zignation. So in the final check was when we entered. We were about entering because it was like the road was not even so good. We took some videos, but when we now finally entered, we were happy that we were finally in the city. They now stopped us, and this driver had a discussion with them. The next minute he came back into the car. He said they told him to follow. I told him, I said, do not follow. My mind was saying, do not follow. Anytime you follow a police officer or any uniform person to their office, you go into bigger problems. But we're already following him. If you had stopped at that time and told that man stop, let's settle it, maybe it would have been a different story. So we followed. By the time we got to their office, it was already 3 p.m. by this time. We left in the morning, like 10, 11. It was already 3 p.m. We stayed there. There was a lot happening. They were now saying we need the passavant, his charges. They now started reading his charges. They say if not, they will impound the car. He needs to pay 1 million.
Big problem.
1 million CFA.
1 million CFA.
That's like 2,000 euros. 2,000.
No, not that one.
$2,000. Yes, about
$2,000.
$2,000. He was supposed to pay to get the car back because they took his document, they took the car keys. We waited, we pleaded.
And if we told you that a average worker at a restaurant earns 4,000
Dalasi.
Dalasi a month.
A month. 4,000
Yeah.
Dalasi is like how much in dollars?
Well, I calculated that Paul, if he had to pay this fine, the full 1 million, he would have to work for 1.5 years
To pay for
the fine.
And
So-
it wasn't our fault because we just paid, which was we did for all other trips. We just got a driver that knows the place. We paid him his full money, and he takes us around. It wasn't our problem. But I said, "Oh, it's my brother. Let me stay with him." So we stayed 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7. When it was getting dark, I told Obi, walk, since we are already in town, walk down, get a SIM, because we didn't have a data. We could not communicate with anybody. No data, no SIM, nothing. So while he was trying to sort and beg, they did not agree. It was getting dark. I said, let's protect ourselves, let's leave, remove our luggage and check to an hotel. But we wanted to see it through, and just maybe our presence and everything, maybe they will appeal. So Obi went to appeal with the boss, and he was so proud, and so we were even trying to beg him that was it, because when Obi finally went to get a SIM and got data, we now googled what was even our offense. That was when we now saw a passer van, and what the implication and what the purpose of the passer van was. So that night they now said we should come out, check into an hotel, bring all our luggage. So brought down all our luggages. So we brought down all our luggages. We took a taxi.
The car was driven
into their office. They took the key
lot
and the document, and that was bye bye to the car. So the night they now drove us to the guy was already out. Tell them how Paul was behaving at this time.
Oh, he was crying.
Paul was
begging. He was on the floor.
He was on the floor
his knees
begging,
in front
crawling.
of that
The guy
officer.
was distraught. He was devastated.
Because he saw his life was over. He could
because what he actually did was he borrowed the car from one of his friends that borrowed it from his boss without the boss knowing. So it was like this thing Nigerians do, that they just want to quickly trade with the car and make some money for a few days. But so he was really, really panicking. Like he
because
said,
that car was anything. Obviously, a very, very crappy car, but he could not have it impounded, because if the car is not coming back, his friend would then be arrested for stealing a car.
Yeah, so he said he wasn't going back to Gambia. He cannot go back because they will harass the wife. So the wife, and he has 5 children. The wife is a Gambian Senegalese. So he's a whole lot of me. So we went to the hotel. We just went. As he got to the hotel, he started recounting his experience to one of the guys he saw at the bar. So the guy now said, "Oh, I'll talk you to my auntie." So before we knew it, one lady came out. She heard the story. She was like, "Don't worry, I'll talk to my husband." And before you knew it was just like heaven sent. This lady, her name is Monica. Shout out to you, Monica. God bless you. She took up the case, and she said we shouldn't worry. She's because she speaks. And another issue we had was the language barrier. They speak French in Senegal. It was even French they were speaking. So we couldn't even understand. We could not know what to even start begging from. With this, and this guy said he understands Wolof, but he does not understand the Senegal Wolof and the French. So it was a whole lot of mess. So when we got there, the lady now said the next day we are going to go and appeal. She's going to go with us, and the lady just took up the case like it was us. Before the next day, I told Obi to stay because they think we have so much money. So the lady lied that we came to visit her. I'm a friend, and this blah 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 blah. We went.
And then the boss was attracted to her.
And the boss she was married, because we met she and her husband. They came for a wedding, and their car got spoiled, and they were stuck there too. So, and the guy was liking. I gave. He was the one that took her phone and pressed his number in there. I was there. We were in his office begging. So the guy, we pleaded with the boss. He was able to bring the fine from 1 million to 500. So we left the office. We were asking Paul, what do you have? Me, I already took 50,000 because I said at all, let's even have something to beg with. We gave him 50,000. They said it's not going to work. We asked Paul, what do you have? He was just doing like this, opening his pocket, and like, at least negotiate something, even if you don't have it at hand. Negotiate. If you at that moment told the boss, oh, it's 200, then we'll have looked for how we negotiate. So we went back after much back and forth. I told Obi we need to save him. I cannot leave him. He's my Nigerian brother. I cannot leave him honestly, and Obi already felt like responsible, and him being him and me knowing him to be him, because that night Paul could not eat, he could not sleep. We had to even bring him into our room because the plan was he sleeps in the car while we are in our hotel. But that night he needed to sleep
Took him out
because
to dinner and he slept on the floor.
He was trying to sleep. He was saying he cannot sleep, he cannot. We forced him to eat. We had dinner. He drank until he was drunk that night. He was now sleeping at the outside. I saw him sleeping. I said, you need all your energy for tomorrow, so I will even know what we are going to discuss. So I told him, come and sleep. There was this extra blanket. I laid it on the floor, gave him one extra pillow. I said, sleep. So he slept. He was snoring. Obi was also snoring. He slept in our room on the floor because I had just a little bed. You see it in the video. So he slept there. So the next morning he was refreshed. I said, the leftover from last night, the food we packed, let's eat it. So we ate it together. So you have strength to fight. But Paul was already something else, and I felt so bad for him. So I told Obi, we need to chip in eventually. Obi said yes. He also felt a bit of responsible.
We cannot just leave him behind that.
Even if he's not Nigerian,
if I
we can't leave him
in Holland and thinking of that we left behind someone that maybe going to go to jail and all of that, and his life being ruined, I would not have.
And on this trip, we have really spent a lot of money on the locals. Obi is always giving out 100 Elasi, 200 Elasi, women, children. He was always giving out. So I'm like, this would be like the greatest tip ever, because we keep tipping. We give 10% tip anywhere we went to eat. We all had amazing dinners, by the way. We ate a lot of intercontinental dishes, but that's another story. See it in our videos. So we said, let's give this guy, even if it's something, but we need to beat the money down a bit so that we can help him, because he obviously does not have any money. So while we were there, and I told Obi, tell him he should make moves too. He cannot just rely, because I told him to calm down. I will not leave him alone. So he got a bit calm, but maybe he was feeling, I think I will take all the responsibility. So I told him, no, you also need to pitch in. The lady also told him, you need to pitch in, start making calls. So the next morning I got my own SIM. He now also got it, because he kept using Obi's phone. And like, get your own SIM so that you can even call back home, call your people, let them know. He was trying to hide as usual. I said, let them know. That's how they can help. So he was able to get through his boss. They got some money. He was able to get 100,000. So at that point, we were like, it's not going to work. 100,000 out of 500. Where will we get the 400? So we already determined we're going to give him like 200 or whatever. We can come up with a little bit.
First was 100,000, but since he was still all that money short, I just thought, okay, let us give him well.
So the lady asked, how much can we add to it? So we said, let's add 250. I wanted to even say 200, but Obi said 250. So he said he had 100. So the lady called the man. Since she had the number, the boss, the lady, that's the Monica lady helping us. She now called and said, oh, we have been able to gather 350. I wanted to beat it down to 250 because I know they can still go down. But the lady already said 250. But Paul, on this other side, Paul was thinking, oh, the lady is also trying to get some money into her pocket. I said, no, she's trying to help us. But he didn't believe. He wanted to go behind. I said, because we were already telling him, be a man up, make some decisions yourself, call people, do more. The lady was pressuring him, so he went behind and tried to beg. They said 250 is fine. He met another guy. They said 250 is fine if you have 250. But the lady already negotiated for 350, so there's no way we can go back. So I wanted her to even beat it down further, but she was like, no, when it happened, it's a big offense. There was a change of power in Senegal, so everybody's trying to do the right thing so that the boss will not be offended and everything. That we are lucky she has been able to beat it down to 350 and everything. So they went, so we gave them the money, we drew the money, we gave them the money. Paul went and they were able to get the car, but they still needed the passerby. So that was the end of day 2. We've not seen anything. We were not able to do any exploration. The day 1 ended, day 2 ended, we did not see anything. So they still needed to do that document. So he went that night, burnt the fuel to go. Before he got there, the offices are closed. So the next morning, early the next morning, he went again to get the passerby. It's just a plain, simple document. And funny enough, the passerby cost just 2,005 CFAs. At the end of the day, we paid 350,000 CFAs, which is about 500, over 500 euros. Almost 500 euros. So it was really $1. So it was really an expensive thing. So we supported him. He got it out. At the end of the day, we were like, let's even see something. We wanted to go to Cap Screen. We wanted to see some other places, but it was too late. I just said we needed to come back in 2 days, back to the Netherlands, back to Gambia, then back to the Netherlands. So we told him, just show us around. Since you promised to even show, what did you want to take us to? He was just roaming, taking me to Motor Park. I'm like, Motor Park is what I came to see in Senegal. So I told her, come down. They said, this is the seat of power. Let's just walk around. So we show you the videos. We just walked down the streets, saw a couple of places, just took some pictures. So it won't be as if we wasted all this money and we did not.
Because also we needed to be back.
We needed
at the border,
and the
because
border before
closes at
6.
6.
Border closes at 6, and I didn't want any issues with the border anymore. So we were like, let's just be going back. So that was on Wednesday. We were supposed to go on Monday, come back on Tuesday, but now we ended up being in Senegal still on Wednesday. So I'm like, let's go back, because by Thursday, Friday, we need to return back to the Netherlands. So I said, no, let's just come back. So that was how we started coming back. And when we got there, they stopped us again, did all their checks. They now said it doesn't have fire extinguisher, so we needed to pay for money. We needed to pay for fuel. After all the money we were buying fuel, we bought over 100,000 CFA worth of fuel.
Yeah, that car was not an it kept gulping down the fuel like
all
crazy.
The stuff. Mr. Paul does not have any money for all the checks, and we were the ones sorting all the bills. We paid for his food, his accommodation, everything, his alcohol, all the money. And you will give him money for free. I told him he didn't buy the complete money. So all these things, it was just a whole lot of mess. We would have just used a local person, a local taxi guy that knows the route, that knows the area, and not so don't allow yourself, if you have ever fall into you're as a tourist into all these African countries, just be careful. Make sure you use a local. Anything you do, make sure you use a local, a registered, an experienced person to save you a whole lot. So we also took that away, and we learned that. The video is getting too long. I think we are going to end it. We are going to end it here. That was our adventure. We came back. I was feeling so bad for him, because through our conversations with him, I screamed, I shouted, I gingered him. As a man, you need to be strong, even if you don't have money. But because of the poverty thing, it made him feel so less of a man and so distraught. But I'm happy we were able to help him out, and that was sorted. But he was running into problem with the guy he took the money, the car from. So he was going back and forth trying to manage us, at the same time trying to manage his boss. He took the money from the boss. He needed to go back to work to show the boss that he's not going to run away. So it was a whole lot. I advised him, you need to balance it and make everything perfect. At the end of the day, I felt so bad for him that we're supposed to pay him 3,000 for workmanship. So I was like, since we spent all this money, we didn't, the car on our way
in the end we gave him another 1,000.
So I felt so bad. We felt so bad. He didn't have anything to take home after all this stress. So I'm like, let's just give him 1,000 out of this 3,000. Let's just give him 1,000. We know we have spent. So Obi was like even trying to tell him in the car, how are you going to refund? He didn't make any proposal on how he's going to return the money. He was so scared. The next day he called the wife to be begging me, which of course we sold the money as a seed. I'm not expecting the money back, but Obi just let him even ask. Let's see if he will even come up with anything. But being him, he did not have anything to bargain with. He didn't even bargain. He didn't come up with any payment plan. But I said, let's wait and just forget about it. Whatever we spend, let's just forget about it. It's going to come to us in another act of favor somewhere else. We don't know. But that was it, and it was really an eye opener. Like,
maybe if you buy a house in Gambia, and then we can get Paul.
One way or the other, because we still go back to Gambia. We like it there. So anytime we go back, if he's still there, we have made that friend. He was really really distraught, but I'm happy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, it's actually
in his heart he's a great guy. He was just a little bit not enough. He was trying to
not too informed, but all is in the name of hustle. He was trying to hustle for his family, which I appreciated, because he has 5 children. He needs to hustle, but at the end of the day, next time you learn. So in his life, anyway, yes, persevere. He's the
very first so that tourist guide that got everything paid, did not deliver anything, and got a tip from us for almost 400 euros.
Yeah, and can you imagine, on our way back, the fuel finished. After we paid almost how many thousands, the fuel now finished, and it wasn't showing on the dashboard. It finished halfway, almost when we were already entering Gambia.
The car used first 30 liters, 25 liters, and then 20 liters. So that is how much is that? Calculate 45. 75 liters, and then another 5 liters. So the car used 80 liters of fuel
Almost 80,
on
just under that.
on 300 kilometers.
Less than. Is
So
even
that
less
is one
less than 300,
liter.
because we checked the mileage at the start of the journey and checked the mileage at the end of the journey, and the difference was not, it was less than 300 kilometers.
Yeah.
And so it was a whole lot of fuel for a Lexus Toyota car.
So I think there was a hole in the tank.
Yeah, and the fuel finish, he needed to buy, he started looking for keg. We had to give him money for anything happening to the car. We weren't just dishing out money.
We just
And at the end of
are
the
happy
day,
that we did not get stranded in Senegal,
Yeah.
because I promise you, in the Delta area where you have to
Nothing.
to get
The road
to that
was
city,
bad.
there's nothing.
Nothing.
There's also no
no
phone
police
reception.
check, no
There's no
reception,
nothing.
nothing. So we learned that lesson. Next time we are going, we will have just flown into Dakar and just see a couple of places. But we wanted to drive by road to experience all these things. So I learned a lot. I learned there was a lot of discrimination to the by the blacks, and they treat the Europeans like they are gods. And I don't know, because they feel the people are bringing tourism and all this money into their country. But definitely, I don't think they like you Europeans. They just, it's the money they want to take, and it's not really fair. But that's a story for another day. But these are Senegal story and Paul adventure, our adventure with Paul in Senegal story. Hope you guys enjoy this. We'll continue with the story of
How we kick Boss Mike's ass.
on the third video. We'll conclude on how we dealt with my police harassment issue. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. It's already long. See you guys on the next one. Bye. 13 minutes. Wow.